fame, loyalty, artistry, content, freedom, honesty, love, music, art, change, wisdom, knowledge, new chapters. These the new chapters.
So this is the old house that I used to live in 6 years ago, the unit, and they actually look nicer now than they used to. They used to be brick, just completely brick. And so we lived here when we were living off Centrelink. We had literally no money. We couldn't afford a car. Our rent was $300 a week. We were getting $500 a week from the government, and so most of it went to rent. We could only afford to eat $50 worth of groceries a week for 3 people. And we lived in close to the city because we couldn't afford a car or public transport, so we had to walk and cycle to get everywhere that we needed to go. And it was during this time that I was heavily pregnant. 3 people when my daughter came, but before that I was heavily pregnant and living here. I walked the 15-20 minute walk into the valley into work every day. Up until 39 weeks pregnant I worked because I had no other option. And that was when we didn't even have Centrelink at that time. I was working to save some money until the baby came so that we could get Centrelink when she came. And so it was then after this, after I had my daughter, I started studying to become a personal trainer. And I remember there was a really pivotal moment one day where it was just such a struggle and we were going through such a tough time. And there was this blow that came to us that made things just worse. And so we got a letter in the mail. I remember lying down on the apartment floor, curled up in a ball, crying after receiving this letter. And it was a letter from immigration saying that my partner's visa hadn't been approved. And so we thought that we were going to be split up and with a brand new baby, and our family was going to be torn apart. And why it wasn't approved was because apparently we were sent an email to give more information, but we never got this email, so obviously didn't give the information. So we had to go through a whole review tribunal, and eventually it ended up working out, but it was very, very stressful. And I remember as I laid there, curled up in a ball crying, I thought, I can stay here for the rest of my life. I can stay in this struggle, living off Centrelink, living off the government, having no choice, having no freedom, no car, not being able to travel, not being able to give back to charity and to family and to do the things I love. And I decided to create a better life for myself at that point. That was my reason why. I wanted to create a better life for myself and my family. And so I started studying to become a personal trainer. And then I used to cycle to my classes, and express breast milk for my daughter. And the week out of PT college, I started my first business. I had no idea what I was doing. My very first session, I had 2 people show up and they were both friends. And I kind of tried to work it out myself for those first couple of months. I then invested in a mentor. And at the time, the first thing I did with him was $1,000. Now, you could have said to me at the time, $100,000, that's how much it felt like. And so I didn't have that money. I didn't have any savings. And what I did was I took action on the things that he told me to do. I took action, I did the work, I made some money, and I paid it off bit by bit. And within 2 months, I'd gone from earning a couple of $100 a week to $1,000 a week. And then got to 100,000 in a year, 200,000 in 2 years, or under 2 years. And it was because of that strong reason why, and knowing that I never wanted to be in that place again, but also that I was willing to invest in myself and willing to do the work. And most people aren't willing to do that. Most people don't have that much urgency or that much dedication, or they don't have clarity, or they don't know why they want to reach their goals, or they don't even know what their goals are. Now, that's one kind of person. If you do know that, that's awesome. That's the first step. But the second thing is they're not willing to invest in themselves. And you've got to invest in yourself, not just with money, but with time, with energy, and with commitment to actually doing the work and putting in the effort and being patient as well, so that you can get the results. And so I did that, and now I'm about to approach the $500,000 mark in my third business, and I've done that because of those two things: knowing my why and investing in myself. And so looking at this unit that I used to live in, tiny 2-bedroom unit, and it brings it all back, yeah. And now I live in an amazing house. I have my dream life. I have my ideal clients, and I get to travel all around the world. I give back to family. I give back to charity, and I do whatever I want to do. And I'm living life on my terms. That was my driver, yeah? Be able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, and create the life of my dreams. And you know, if I can do that, and coming from that place, then you can do it as well. This is the house that I moved to after the unit at Bowen Hills. And so it had been a couple of years in business. I was making some good money, and we wanted to move house and move to a bigger place. It was further out of the city. We had a car then, so it didn't really matter. And we wanted to move to something that was a bit bigger. So we moved to this house, 3-bedroom, big backyard, 2 sheds in the backyard. Underneath the house there was a lot of space and storage. We had a gym in there as well. And this was us kind of moving up in the world. Now this place, we moved from a $300 a week rent to like a $390. So still not too much, but it was a step up for us. And then we were living in this house for 5 years, up until last year. And last year, in those 5 years, I'd grown so much. And last year, I was so fed up of living here. And the thing that really tipped me over the edge was our cat kept bringing rats into the house. And when my partner was working away, having like headless rats being brought into the house with blood and stuff everywhere. And we had snakes sometimes as well, but it was the rats that just really tipped me over the edge. But it wasn't the rats, you know, the rats were, I guess, a metaphor. So in my head, I felt like I didn't belong here anymore, and it was really pissing me off. And you know, your environment equals your success. So the people you spend your time with, and the environment, the physical space that you're in, your house, the places that you spend your time, means that you're going to be as successful as the people and the places that you surround yourself in. And because I was kind of over this space, and I had grown so much, I needed to be in a different space, and I felt like this space was actually holding me back. It was making me be in a bad mindset, and so I knew that I had to change if I wanted to grow. Okay, so you've seen my last 2 houses that I've lived at over the last 7 years, I think it is now. Starting off where a tiny little unit where I had literally no money, nothing. Then we kind of upgraded a little bit to the next place, which was an old house, you know, built in I don't even know when, 40s, 50s maybe. And it was kind of falling apart, full of rats as well, which was my tipping point to leave there. And so last year, it was kind of mid last year we moved here. But before that, I wanted to move for a long time because I felt like my head was in a different place to my surroundings. I'd created all this success, I'd created an amazing business, and was going and staying in amazing places when I was running VIP days and traveling and things like that. But my environment that I was living in felt like I was still back where I was 5 years ago because I'd been in that house 5 years. And the rats were the tipping point. You know, one day my cat, he brought a lot of them, but one day my partner was working away and there was a rat on my back doorstep with no head, and the cat was trying to bring it in the house. And I just locked the door and I was like, I don't want to deal with this. There was also one living in our bedroom behind my partner's chest of drawers. And so that was just my moment where I just had enough. And so my partner didn't want to move at first. I had to convince him to move. And I started looking at places, and he started looking at places as well. And this went on for about 6 months until I finally kind of convinced him to move. And so we looked around online first and got really excited about that, and then we started looking at places face to face. Now this was actually the last place we looked at. I think we looked at about 4 or 5 in a day, and I just decided, yes, I want to move to this place. Now it was about more than double of what we were paying in rent at the last place, and it was a bit scary at first when we moved, but I knew that for my mindset I needed to be in an environment that made me feel happy. It wasn't about, you know, a level of success. It wasn't like, oh, I have to have a big house so everyone else knows that I'm successful, you know, that keeping up with the Joneses and all of that. It wasn't about that, because I really don't care what other people think. It was about me. It was about what was going on inside my head, and I know that your environment equals your success, and I knew that not only for business success but to be happy, I wanted to be somewhere else. So let me show you through. So we have, this is one of my favorite things, the decks. We have this nice big play space for the kids. So the kids are always playing on the gymnastic rings and playing on this deck. We also have a pool. So I've been living out of home since I was 19, which is 11 years, and I've never had a pool since I was living at home. So we have a beautiful pool now. And as you can see, we're surrounded by bushland. And I didn't realise when we moved here, when we came to look at the place, that there was all this bushland around us. So we're surrounded by hectares of protected bushland. And I go for a walk every morning through there, and I see wallabies every single day. It's really beautiful. Sometimes they're right outside our house. So I'll show you inside now. So this is the living area, and the kitchen as well. My little boy's playing this morning, so he's made a bit of mess. We don't like having too much clutter. We're actually getting rid of a lot of stuff at the moment, but I like having little things that mean something to me around the house. And then we have the kids' room through here. Kids have their own bathroom with double shower head, and the kids' bedroom. My room is in here. I just love having so much space, and in our old house we didn't even have cupboards, so you know, the things that are really amazing to me is the decks and being surrounded by bushland and the cupboards. It's not even like the big things that people would normally think. Bathroom with a spa bath. And this is the office. So my partner normally uses this. It's all my personal development and business books down there. And my partner uses this office for his work, usually. Limited edition Banksy. This is where our au pair is staying at the moment. And then, last but not least, we have the movie room. So the people who were renting this place from, they left all these chairs, the sound system, the projector, everything in here. I actually don't use this room that much for watching movies. I mainly use it for working. So me and my assistant and my admin, we usually sit here like this, working. Which is nice and comfortable. And it's nice to have that workspace separate from our normal living space downstairs. And then we have the upper deck. So I've got my meditation space down here. When we went to Thailand last year, actually, they gave us this from the rice harvest. So I gave that to Buddha. And this is the beautiful view. You can see it a little bit. It's a bit cloudy today. The Glasshouse Mountains are through there. Mount Glorious is over there, and Stradbroke Island's through there, but you can't really see it today. So like I said before, when we first moved here, I wanted my environment to match up with my mindset and the success that I created in my life. Now, I was at a very different place back then, and you know, this was only mid last year, so what, maybe 9 months ago? And at the time, we had way more expensive rent moving here. I hired my assistant as well, full-time, or 30 hours a week, pretty much full-time. I was getting massages every week. I had a personal chef coming to my house every week. I was getting 2 personal training sessions a week. I went out one day and bought an $800 dress because I was sad, you know, just like stupid financial decisions. Well, not all of those, obviously hiring an assistant is a good idea. But I was spending a lot of money, and I was focused on how much money was coming in, but not what was going out. So I was like, oh, I'll just make more. Okay, so it was just make more, but wasn't paying attention to what was going out. Now, if you're living like that, you've just got to keep pushing, keep hustling all the time, and you're creating an amazing lifestyle, but you're not creating true wealth. And so I invested in a financial advisor who's helped me so much. I have worked on myself even more than I had before, and I'm not in the same position anymore. I don't have personal training anymore. I don't have the personal chef anymore. I only get a massage when I need it. You know, at the time I was competing in powerlifting, so I needed those things because it kept me on track and it kept my body from breaking apart. But now I'm not doing that. So I don't need all of those things. I don't go out and buy expensive dresses because I'm emotional, because I'm in control of my emotions, and I know that that's not healthy for me to do that. And so now I've been able to manage my money and be smarter with my money so I can think about long-term wealth. Thinking about things like investing in property, investing in businesses, starting a charity, looking at my money growing to leave a legacy for my kids. And so I can reach out and help more people and really contribute on a larger scale. And so I know that I don't need this house. It's nice, but you know, they had someone valuing the house recently and we thought, oh, they're going to kick us out. And I actually saw the positives in that. Yes, it's going to be annoying if they do, to pack up everything again, find another house. But I realized even still with a nice house, we could save a few $100s a week on rent, which works out to be about $15,000 over a year. And that $15,000 could go to something that's going to create true wealth, not just living in a nice house. So, you know, I've grown a lot as a person, I've grown a lot in business, and I wanted to share that lesson with you because yes, it's nice to have nice things and to live in a nice house, but you've got to think about smart decisions rather than emotional decisions. And so that's what I do now. And yes, I am still in this house for the time being, but I'm making a lot more smarter decisions so that I can really grow, not only in business, but as a person as well.